Hi everyone, good afternoon, and I heard we've got an extremely good event today for Modern Care Forum. Extremely honored to be today in the presence of Mr. Zhou, Secretary General of Alibaba Global E-commerce Talent. This is an incredible opportunity to speak with you and to hear what is going on in tech giants like Alibaba. So today the session is going to be talking as a discussion really much about what is happening in the future of work, because the future of work is already there, right? And learning from the big tech companies, what have been the impact of COVID-19 into their own company, into the transformation of their workplace, and what they can see forward for the transformation of the million SMEs they're working with as well. So I will start with the first simple question. With the COVID-19 and Alibaba have been thriving in China and beyond, right? Just like other companies in the US, like Amazon, etc. The tech giants have been really growing a lot recently. So internally, how have been things going? How Alibaba have been evolving into a modern.
Okay, John. I think the COVID-19 happened in China in February. I think that really changes everyone's life. Here. I mean, I think Alibaba as a company, I think they've done a lot of things because the digital solutions are all there. I think a lot of business units like the Hema, the new retail units of Alibaba, really played a very important role during the COVID-19. I mean, the delivery services of the grocery stores really helped the Chinese people, people like me, as a normal citizen. We actually really been locked down at home. I mean, we really can really enjoy our, shoppings, online, and everything gets to deliver to the doorstep. I think that's really something really showed digital solutions really can change our normal life. Something Hema, the Alibaba new retail unit really did is also not only just provided services to the normal citizens, but also they actually they're using shared staff. Because a lot of restaurants, a lot of small companies are actually facing problems. So their staff having no, work. So what new retail, units of the Alibaba Hema really launched a kind of initiatives like, okay, let's share staff, let's borrow your staff to me, lend your staff to me, because we lack of, delivery persons. That kind of initiative also really helped a lot of small business to go through the COVID-19. Of course, the other unit like Ding Ding, the Alibaba's working application, the apps really also did a great job by providing this kind of a service to education systems. Like a lot of online classes also happen on Ding Ding. The Alibaba's app for workplace. And also the Ali Cloud. I believe a lot of units really contributed to the situation, the pandemic, by providing this kind of digital solutions. I think that we really have seen a digital company really played a very important role during the pandemic. Yeah.
Right. So even though Alibaba had all these assets for the past 10 years, it's only during this year maybe that these assets have been shining, right, as a solution for the social distancing, right? I can imagine, as you mentioned, number one, all the platforms that were already existing in Alibaba now maybe have been used by a lot more companies than before. Yep. Because if they were not selling online during the last 6 months, they had to. Otherwise, they wouldn't sell at all, right? That's number one.
And people have to remember, back in year 2003, there's another outbreak of the pandemic, with SARS. Actually, that year was actually the birth year of the Taobao. I mean, also the same thing happened at that year also is because people cannot go out to shopping and be forced to shopping online. That year really is the first year we see the Chinese e-commerce really take off in that year. Yeah.
So two events that supported the penetration of the e-commerce in China and globally, right?
Yes.
SARS and COVID-19. Exactly. But I really appreciate when you share about these other businesses which you have helped to have staff on delivery side, right? Because I can imagine a lot of delivery were happening through Alibaba, and you guys were kind of understaffed. And there is all these SMEs who maybe have a lot less orders that had this staff available. So how did you work this out? Was that merchants that were on the platform that called your customer service? How did that happen? Because that's pretty amazing. You probably saved a couple of 100,000 jobs right there.
Yeah, I think I really don't really know how exactly the details, but actually it's an initiative launched actually by the Hema. Then we approach actually all the restaurants and all the other small companies saying, okay, we're short of staff, but your staff probably now is under job. So really let's share with your staff. And that really worked. You know, yeah, as you say, it saved a lot of jobs during the pandemic. Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. So I just asked this hard question to start because what I want to put on the spotlight today is that the world has drastically changed. We all know that. We're talking about a new normal. We're talking about a new social distancing, low-touch economy. But the reality is that the global player who were the kings and the emperors of the last 50 to 80 years of capitalism have been reshuffled. And now new players who were more digital have been able to take over a lot of these parts. We're thinking about the airlines. We're thinking about the giant chain of restaurants or hotels who were the kings of capitalism and globalization. Today have been reshuffled with the COVID-19 and hence letting place for new players, those digital players, to really start to diversify, not only into maybe just e-commerce for electronics anymore, but to our complete daily life, right? And in that sense, how us, people and talents, and particularly for this modern career forum, how the fresh grad can be preparing themselves for this. Because this year they're entering the market. And this year, BBC and Harvard Business Review are talking about a lockdown generation, a generation that unfortunately will be part of the 120 million people globally who are unemployed due to COVID-19 and the social distancing. Mm-hmm. So how do we enable those fresh grads to understand what's going on? So maybe with the starting point for Alibaba, how do you see what is at stake here for this lockdown generation?
Yeah, I think I really appreciate what you're saying. I mean, this is very unfortunate for the lockdown generation. I actually learned this terminology from you, John. I think, the lockdown generation. But everyone probably thinking it's the worst of times because when you just graduate, the situation goes like this, the economy goes down. It is quite hard. But we're also saying probably this best of times because the digital solution actually will provide a very different or even better, if not better, I mean, it's very different opportunities for youth and for entrepreneurs. Because I think we have to remember digital transformation. I always say one very important sentence is that digital transformation is not about technology, it's about people. Digital knowledge, technology, because all the people, when the digital infrastructures has been really set, being established, all these digital technology infrastructures, all these platforms being established. I mean, we really have to realize small people, young people, people are probably are not advantaged, being really advantaged in the past, now having much better chances. They'll be really empowered by these platforms, by these digital infrastructures. Their chances to succeed, to participating in entrepreneurial projects or, become entrepreneur themselves are much easier than the past. So we have to look at positively. Digital transformation is actually a very inclusive, model. I mean, the new giants or the new players like Alibaba or Google or Apple or this kind of company or digital giants, they are now establishing this kind of infrastructures like payments or logistics or, e-commerce platforms, or data or, all these kind of computing powers, capabilities. When all these pillars being really established, people are much easier to do business in the future. So I think the lockdown generation, I think now really it's also a time for them to be involved in the digital transformation and to integrate or use it, maximizing all these resources and give themselves a much better future, I think.
And this is really much where we are so honored to have you, who is pretty much the person working on leveraging this digital infrastructure to be more inclusive for Alibaba. And this is very much aligned with the mission of Adaptivity. We want to give chances to everyone to be part of the digital economy through upskilling and career coaching. This is very much what we want to do next 10 years. And our goal would be to help probably 1 million people to penetrate the digital economy through this upskilling. And this is incredible because we realized, oh, actually Alibaba is doing that for 5 years already. And so this is how we got in contact. so this is your mission. And we realized we were just one of the small guys who believe the same thing. So maybe share us a bit about a global e-commerce talent program from Alibaba and the initiatives you have been doing and pushing across the world, because not only in Asia, but in Africa, in Europe, and South America. So share us what's the program about and how you think it will help this generation to enter the digital economy.
Yeah, we actually established this network probably in 3 years ago. Now we're really having global partners in different countries. We're having partners in Mexico, in Africa, in Rwanda, in Colombia, in Thailand, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Russia, in Uzbekistan. We really have a lot of global partners around the world. The idea behind this network is actually trying to share, our experiences from Alibaba or probably from China in the last 20 years of kind of digital, digital transformation. I mean, we have a lot of experience, a lot of case studies, a lot of, good and bad experiences. And we're really trying to share that with the global youth generations. I think that, but the things we're really trying to share is not actually about the mindset, because we think to operating or to really get involved in this digital transformation, people will need a totally new, probably business paradigm. We're thinking we're actually entering into when we're talking about digital transformation, probably all the old business logics, business organizations, the way of conducting the businesses are all going to be very different. So we're really trying to share this mindset of digital transformation to all the youth around the world. That's actually our objective. And in particular, I think about it, when we actually enter to an entire digitalized world, when our consumers are really going to be super connected. We always talk about our consumers are super empowered consumer now. I mean, the way they access to information, the way their purchasing behaviors, the way they actually see a brand values are all going to be changing very fast. And for old businesses, how do they really cope with these kind of changes? I think it really is the key. Then for the young generation, for the young people, how do they also be involved in this kind of a very different working environment or very different business environment? I think this is something we really try to share with all the youth, all the students around the world. Yeah.
So as you mentioned, right, this is a extremely fast technology changing environment. The practices are changing very fast. The way we work is changing very fast. The expectations from the employers to the talents are changing very fast, alongside with the skill sets required in the workplace. And and to a talent that just graduated, it can be very overwhelming, right? And for a talent who maybe wanted to become a doctor or work in a bank as a financial accountant, and then now he can see that Alibaba have all these opportunity, that Lazada have this opportunity, Grab have this opportunity, but it's so overwhelming, right? And they don't know what to start with, to change and to adapt, right? So what would be your case study on some talents that didn't graduate from software engineering, for example, and who maybe graduated from history or like from something very different than tech, and ended up still working in Alibaba. And you cannot use the case of Cindy, because I know she used to be personal teacher, but but yeah, maybe some example of people who were traditional and who jumped into the Alibaba adventure, or maybe through the global e-commerce talent network, to become digital talents after that.
Yeah, I think when we say digital talent, we be very carefully to describe what do we mean by digital talent. Because a lot of people thinking digital talent is all about technology. You have to understand artificial intelligence or IoTs, and you have to understand all the cloud computings. Otherwise, you're not a digital talent. I don't think so here. I think, of course, in Alibaba, I believe there are tech persons there. They are all technology people there. But also, I believe there are a lot of people on a business side of the digital transformations. But when we're really talking about digital talent, I used to, once I talked to one of the Alibaba, HR managers, HR directors, say, what kind of talent you're really looking for? What kind of skills you're really looking for? And the answer I've really got is actually, we're not looking for skills. Wow, I said, then what do you really looking for? And she said, we're looking for mindset. I said, well, what do you mean by what kind of a mindset you're looking for? And she said, okay, first of all, are you curiosity enough? Are you really people with the curiosity? Because without curiosity, you can't work in an ever-changing environment and be really innovative. And another quality she was talking about, can you really embrace change? Because things are changing just imagine working in a company at the front line of changing. And every day, it's very normal for people working in Alibaba changing 6 departments within a year. I know one of the colleague, changing 5 teams within a year because probably the former 4 teams, the project all failed.
Right.
Can you really take that kind of pressure with working in a company who are always changing? Because every time you change means the previous project probably just didn't work. Are you resilient enough?
Being resilient.
Being really resilient, because you're in a dark room searching for what's next. Are you really become very altruistic, because working in an ecosystem, really you have to be really, really altruistic, always thinking of benefiting others. I think this kind of a quality are not technology related, I believe. It's really some of the mindset and the qualities a graduate really should have to be prepared to get into this kind of tech companies or involved in digital companies, I think.
Right. And so first is curiosity.
Yeah.
Two is the capacity of resilience, right?
Yeah.
Adapting to the changes and being altruistic.
Yeah.
This is something that everyone is looking for, actually, right? Even the corporate but this is very right. I think these key mindset features gonna be the one of the winning, defining talents for the next decade. I can share my experience as founder of GetLinks. We are placing a couple of hundred talents per year into technology companies, but also more and more into corporates. Our biggest market now is corporate companies, because they are evolving to be more digital and creating new revenue streams online. And they also mentioned that this is not about skill sets. They can see perfect talents for their digital team amongst their traditional business, if they are curious resilient, and adaptive.
Yeah.
So it's very right. Maybe this is the key defining message of hope for the talents who are watching us today. Even if you didn't graduate from software engineering or digital marketing or something tech, if you have this right mindset of curiosity, resilience, adaptivity, and being altruistic, you have all the chances to become a winning talent. That's a good one. We'll keep.
Yeah.
So how? In the same time, I feel like something frustrated me with GetLinks, and that's why we work with Adaptivity now. Is we always help the same people to get even more money, right? And that's something when we see the highest salaries in Thailand in technology, they are 7 times higher than the median average salary of the country, right? And if you look on the global scale, this is pretty much the same. The people who work in technology are paid more than the normal other people, right? So so how do we make that world more inclusive, right? And maybe you can share some of the program Alibaba have made. I heard you guys have made programs in Africa and also bottom of the pyramid in China and Southeast Asia. We'd love to see and hear what you've built, because that's pretty amazing, and I want the audience to hear about it. And maybe what's the next step and the perspective for the next couple of years ahead on this digital inclusions program.
Yeah, I won't tell you. Probably I can share with you one of my students' story. You know, he's actually a student from America, or he's got a double nationality, American and Mexican. You know, he actually came to study he gave up his degree studies in the US. He was quite a good student in the US. He was in University of Texas, Austin. So that was quite a prestigious university. But after 1 year, he decided to come to China. He decided to come to Alibaba Business School to study the e-commerce. All right. So after 1 year, he went back to US during the pandemic. Before the Chinese New Year for the summer winter holiday. So in March, he wrote to me on the social media. He said, "Oh, Mr. Zhou, the situation here is not good." So in April, he wrote me again saying, "Mr. Zhou, I haven't really slept on the bed for 2 weeks," because he said the whole family has suffered from the pandemic. His family was in the US. So those parents lost their jobs. You know,
Wow.
his family, his parents and him and his sister had to stay in a room about 15 square meters, one room. So he hasn't really got a chance to actually sleep on the bed. Okay, so he said, I have to do something. You know, I've learned so much things from GT program, or, Alibaba Business School. I want to do something about it. So in June, he wrote me back again. And he said to me, "Mr. Zhou, I'm actually receiving 1,000 orders a day on my Shopify store, and I'm making $40,000 a month. $40,000 a month."
Wow.
That's a story. That's a real story. It just happened, 3 months ago. And the good thing also, he says, he sent me a long article, a long sentence on the social media. He says, everyone says, you need capital, you need staff, you need office, you need a lot of things to start your own businesses. But he said, I just proven it was wrong. That really was the original sentence he sent to me. He said, I just proven to them, I'm on my own. I'm starting with $300 US dollars, and now I'm earning about $40,000, a month. That's really a story. That's a very inclusive story, I think. A guy just suffered. The whole family has suffered from the pandemic, but he didn't really just, wandering around. He just, I have to do something. He started to open his own shop on Shopify and selling some, Mexican traditional medicines from Mexico to, US, to all the Spanish-speaking, groups. And that's what he did.
That's extremely inspiring. Extremely inspiring. So,
and I was, to be honest, John, I can also share with you another story. I was in I was in a village 3 days ago. I did a live streaming to all my students about village people. They grow pearls. They're just using live streaming now, selling pearls. That village, I mean, have 1,000 families, 1,100 families live in that village. You guess how much was that GMVs last year? 30 billion RMB.
Wow.
Can you believe that? The farmer, their villagers, they just grow pearls. They used to selling to these wholesalers, and they used at the end of the value chain. But now, because the live streaming now in China is so popular, they're just selling pearls direct to the customers. By cutting off all these middlemen, they're making fortune. I mean, I showed to all the people from Malaysia and from the UK and from Australia the houses they're living, the cars they're driving. I mean, you see in the courtyard about 2 BMWs in this family, and they live in 3 stories, big villas. It's an amazing story. But if 10 years ago they're just very poor, people living in the village. But now, because of the digital economy, they all become, very, very, they all enjoy a very good life.
They became digital inclusion heroes.
Exactly. So I think lockdown generations, don't be worried about. You are very young people, and you really have all this talent. You're born as Generation Z. You're really growing, with the digital naturally about digital skills.
Digital natives, right?
Yeah, natives. And also, I really want to say, because the rising power of the young generation of the consumers, and now who actually understands. And this is another really thing happening here in China is also, we call it D2C brands, the direct-to-consumer brands, are now very popular here in China and also in the US. They really start to beat all these traditional old giant brands. I mean, new ice cream brands, new cosmetic brands, coffee brands are all very 2 or 3 years old young brands. They were all born on the internet, all established by these young generations. Because they understand the young generation of consumers. In the past, for all these kind of consumer goods, I mean, you need a huge distribution channel to sell it. And now just go online. It's so easy. Go on live streaming, go on all the social medias. So actually the place you can sell the goods now are no longer the traditional distributions. That's actually a very good chance for the young people, because you understand the young people, you understand the young consumers. Actually, there's another opportunities people can do.
Right. And I will top up on what you just said with a quote from someone I've talked to 2 weeks ago. He's the global education senior partner of McKinsey. And he was sharing about his view on the digital transformation in the corporate world. And he told me 97% of the corporate companies have a digital transformation agenda. On these 97%, however, only 3% are actually making money through their new digital products. And where does that come from? It's that most of them actually fail to convert their plan into execution, because they're just looking at having a small team of young kids who play with coding on the corner, right? And this is not that. This is really the mindset. And this is to be honest, the 3% he told me where most of them were doing e-commerce. And this is where I realized I'm so excited about robots. I'm so excited about flying cars and Star Wars, and I'm so excited about VR and blockchain. But when we really think about it, the most redefining technology that is changing our generation, at least for the last 10 years and for the next 10 years, is empowering individuals, no matter where they come from, and no matter how much money they have in the bank, to be able to make an income. And mainly, it's going to happen through e-commerce. It's going to happen through e-commerce. And this is a very recent realization for a guy like me who've been in the technology industry for the past 10 years. I'm pretty late to realize that. Because to be honest, I hated e-commerce. You know, when I worked with Lazada, one day I went back to my home and I see my grandmom in south of France, and she asked me, "So what do you do now, John?" And I'm saying, "Oh, you know, I'm selling millions of this SKU, which means, you know, an item. Every month we're selling 100,000 of this pair of shoes, and then we're helping a lot of people to make money." And say, "Oh, okay, so you are a shoe seller." My grandmom told me this, and since I hated e-commerce, and because I thought, oh, I'm just a shoe seller, but then now I realized this is not just that. This is the process of digital inclusion for a generation to be able to make an income by themselves from their computer wherever they are, whenever they sell, and this is pretty much freedom actually. So I start to like e-commerce again 5 years later, and this is where I really believe helping more talents globally to access to e-commerce is an important matter, and it's probably an important matter for the private sector, but maybe for actually the public sector as well. So I wanted to know, and maybe you can share that, what are the plans and what are the key stakeholders you're working with in the government of Southeast Asia to be able to increase having this bigger very important stake for the government in Southeast Asia as well here.
Yes, actually, we are working very closely with, especially in Asia, for Malaysia, the Malaysian government. Actually, yeah, we're working very closely with the organization called MDEC, which is the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, which is a semi-government body who promotes, you know, a digital transformation. Yeah, we're also working very closely with Indonesia and you know, Thailand. We used to last time when we had a training, I believe in last year, we also have a Ministry of Labor from Thailand came for this kind of training. You know, some officers will attend. Also, we're working with the Ministry of Education in Cambodia. You know, yes, we try before the pandemic. We were always almost getting to a you know, agreement with the Ministry of Education in Cambodia, also to train their digital talents over there. You know, I think it's very important we pass the information, put this kind of a mindset to the young generations around the world. I mean, John, in addition to what you said about e-commerce, I think it's not only just the getting easier for people to selling on e-commerce by putting these people, you know, the villagers or manufacturers or whatever, in online by directly dealing with the consumers. Actually, that hugely, you know, help them to understand the consumer and put them, because in the past the manufacturers just manufacturers. They never know who is the consumer. They're just taking orders. They've been so reactive to the market. So something happened in the top of the value chain, they get suffered.
Right.
But now, if they're really being directly linked by the e-commerce to the consumers, they understand the consumers. They're so much more empowered in their business because they are no longer just waiting for orders. They are no longer just OEM factories. They actually go online. They become very actively working with the consumers. I have a lot of cases here in China. We see this kind of manufacturers. We now call C2M, you know, consumer-centric manufacturers. They've been very flexible. I mean, they've been really flexible. They've been really applying this, you know, flexible manufacturing. You know, their capabilities really also been really improved, you know, during this kind of e-commerce transformation. I don't think it's just access to selling. actually the capabilities of dealing with consumers are also much more improved.
Right. No, this seems amazing, and I really hope this program implementation will be great and fast in Southeast Asia, because I can see the demand from the company side. We talk to a lot of corporates, and we really see that they need those talents quickly. And right now they're just poaching each other, right? Some talents from Lazada are going to Shopee, and then talents from Shopee are going to Nestle or L'Oreal, and it's crazy. So I really hope the people who listen to us today will realize how lucky they are to be in 2020, to have the chance, just with a simple mindset switch, be able to access to this incredible opportunity of not only being part of the future and building the future of the country, but also making money while accelerating the world to be more inclusive. Right? This is not to every generations that this is being offered. Right? Our grandparents, the only chance they had was to fight against the Nazis. Right? For us, we have the chance to make the world more peaceful and more inclusive through this digital transformation, and I think this is pretty exceptional. So maybe to close down before we start to go on the questions, if you had one message of hope for not only the lockdown generation, but also to maybe some of the corporate who are listening to us, and not the corporate themselves, but the talents who are aiming to work in corporate and who will not have a job in corporate because the corporate are not hiring right now. What would be this message of hope? And what's the last word from Alibaba?
The hope, I think really, I feel thinking during every transformation period of time, people will see opportunities. I really see this as a great opportunity for transformation. And I really thinking, but however my message will be, digital transformation is a must. It's not actually a choice anymore. And I believe for all the industries, it's not just for e-commerce, I believe for all the industries, all the traditional businesses will go through a digital transformation. And hence, therefore, the opportunities, when we're going through this kind of huge transformation, the need for the talent is there. I can really guarantee you, in China, in all the places we've seen, people are really, every government officer I've been met, or every big, bosses from the companies, every day I'm receiving requests, say, hey, do you have digital talents? We need them. We need, for example, I'm having a lot of Chinese exporters every day asking me, do you have international talents? Because we need to do local digital marketing, and we don't know the language, and we don't know the culture of the local place, and we need them. We can pay very well, money for them, and also I think this is one thing, one good sign that you are needed, but also this kind of job or this kind of job opportunities or business opportunities, the barrier of entry is so low. You don't need to study rocket science to get into the digital world. You might be a very talented, a video producer, who can really produce very nice videos on TikTok. You might be you can be really an influencer or live streaming host. It's very inclusive in this world. So don't be really scared by digital. It's actually a very inclusive model. And I really hope everyone can really be participating in this digital transformation period. And there's a lot of opportunities. Right.
So this is a really good end word for those talents. Welcome to the digital economy. Don't be shy. Even though your skill sets or you didn't graduate from something related to digital, just try and let the experts help you to penetrate these new careers as well. Adaptivity for that. But also, also Alibaba ECommerce Talent Program.
Yeah, okay, John, let me also add one more point. Actually, we talk about the changing of the working pattern. I think this is also something I would like to emphasize. The whole business world now becomes a network, a coordinated network. So probably in the future, the job pattern, the work pattern probably is no longer about the company plus employees. The job pattern will be the platform plus freelancer, from all independent workers. That, don't forget, that also is a very good opportunity. You don't need to really work for some, companies. Just go into the platform, go into this network of coordinating networks and looking for opportunities. That's also another very important opportunity for the lockdown generation, probably.
That's a very good point, because this morning we were having a session about the gig economy, where we invited two of the biggest platforms to share about their vision for the future. So yeah, freelancing will be a big part of the workforce. That's interesting. So today I learned that really even Alibaba, the biggest corporates, technology corporates in the world, are very mindful of how to include people, no matter where their background and where they come from. And this is really making me smile and giving me some hope, because I know as a lockdown generation person, maybe I will be welcome in this new digital economy. And I learned the second thing is digital transformation is not as digital as much it is a personal transformation, a personal mindset transformation. And as you really well said, Mr. Zhou, people are not looking for technology skill sets as much as they are looking for mindset. And that's very good to know, because mindset is, I guess, easier and faster to learn than 10 years of medical expertise, for example, right? So this is really encouraging. Now, I will go and switch to the questions. We have two questions, and I will start with the one who is more personal. So on a personal level, suppose you're a fresh grad from the lockdown generation. What would be your course of action, Mr. Zhou?
What? Sorry.
What would you do? What would be your action plan if you were a fresh grad today?
Oh, okay. If I'm okay, I believe I will go for some further, studies. Get trained. There are enough material online, or there are enough courses around. I will upskill myself by, learn something, new about digital transformation. I think if I were you, I would do that, because when the whole society actually is going through the transformation, I think everybody is at the same line, the same level. Whoever takes the first step, to be actually skilled in that kind of sector, I think that will be, you'll be really taking a lot of advantage. If I were you, I'm not rushing to a job or whatever. If now the job market is not really that great, I will go for further upskilling myself, to get myself involved into some, learnings or some real projects. And probably entrepreneurship is also a choice, because I was really impressed when I was in one of the Malaysian member universities. One student said to me, in this kind of a digital world, if you can be a job creator, why do you just being just a job seeker? Let's be job creator ourselves, because the entry barrier is so low. Let's do something about it.
That's a really good point. Don't wait for a job. Try to create your own first.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great one. So second question, how, if I am interested to join Global E-commerce Talent Network, how can I access it? And is Adaptivity able to help me access to this program? That's the second question from the audience.
To join us as a program, okay, we do. John probably is something we have to talk about. How can a Thailand? We do running programs now. We are about to sign with few Thai universities and to offering this program in the Thai university. And also we're running programs here in China, but during the pandemic, we're running programs online. It's live streaming programs. It's very interesting. The live streaming, we're actually showing you, not people like me just talking like this. We're showing people around Alibaba's or China logistics. We're showing people in the village to see how this kind of a digital company works. I mean, we're running this company online as well, so probably we can give you contact after this meeting, after this session today. You can join us either online or go to our Thai University Center to learn the program.
Okay, Adaptivity will make sure that this is easy to access and that your programs are distributed across the region. Amazing, thank you so much. I think this is really insightful, and coming from a senior representative like yours, it's really giving hope to a lot of people, I think. As you mentioned, a lot of things, moving pieces are right now in the workplace, and I think we need to have this new type of mindset to be able to adapt and be part of the digital economy. Thank you so much, Mr. Zhou, for joining today, and looking forward to do more together between Adaptivity, Alibaba, and the lockdown generation beyond the future of work. Thank you.